She was denied a family because she was paralyzed, until a single father made her his wife. Rain streaked across the glass roof of the Pearl Arcade, washing the glow from the festival lights into a soft haze. The crowd moved beneath it in steady waves. People in clean coats, service drones with trays of food, and a low hum of transport rails passing overhead. The air smelled faintly of spice, wet alloy, and something metallic that always clung to the upper city after the storms. Rayless waited in the shadow of a polished support column, her slim wheelchair pulled close to the wall. Her body sat tense, hands clamped on her knees. The folded document in her lap still showed the red holographic stamp from the Pairing Council. It pulsed weakly. Application denied. Unsuitable guardian. Emotion, humiliation. Sensory, her palms damp, stomach hollow, pulse thudding behind her ears. She told herself not to cry. The tears came anyway, tracing thin, cold lines down her cheeks. Every sound in the plaza, shoes striking metal tiles, voices overlapping, children laughing near the food stands, made her feel smaller. They had called her name, made her roll forward to the registry glass, and told her that despite her recovery attempts and test results, her condition placed her outside the approved range for parent status. Not for safety, for predictive social stability. That was the phrase. It meant her legs made people uncomfortable. The rejection was her third in 2 years. Each time, the same phrase, mobility risk for dependent minors. Now she sat half-hidden by the column while the city celebrated above her. A small voice broke through the noise. "Dad," she's crying. Rayless looked up. The man who turned at the sound moved like someone used attention. Broad shoulders, calm posture, steady focus. Not a soldier. His clothes were simple. Dark work pants, rolled sleeves, clean but worn. He had a small scar at his collarbone, the kind that came from field work, not vanity. Elon Mercer worked in the upper rehabilitation sector, neuromuscular repair, cross-species prosthetic design. He had been a tactical responder before that, long enough to see too many people fail to walk again. Now he tried to give movement back where systems had given up. At his side stood his daughter, Miri. 8 years old, short curls, mismatched boots, a smear of syrup on her chin from the lyronberry foam she clutched. Her eyes were round and serious as they fixed on Rayless. Elon followed her gaze. He saw the wheelchair, the paper, the shake in Rayless's hands. He didn't move at first. He weighed what he saw. Someone humiliated in a crowd, trained to look away. Then he started forward. Rayless tensed as his shadow crossed her legs. Her instinct made her straighten her back and tug the hem of her short indigo dress down over her thighs. The movement was fast and sharp. She hated that she did it. "Hey," Elon said quietly. "Are you all right?" His tone was level, not soft, not pitying. "Fine," she said, voice tight. "They just told me I'm defective again." Perfect day. He crouched slightly, so his eyes met hers. His expression stayed calm, unreadable. Pairing Council? She held up the paper without looking at it. "They call it protecting children. I call it discrimination." Miri's small hand tugged at his sleeve. "She looks sad," the girl whispered. Elon nodded once, but kept his focus on Rayless. "You live here in Orith?" "For now," she said. "You taking a survey?" "I run a rehabilitation clinic," he said. "Mercer Clinic. Level 3, East Wing. We work on neural interfaces, bridges between damaged spines and synthetic limbs." She gave a bitter half-smile. "You're the third person to tell me that this year. You'll say your mesh works miracles, and I'll say it doesn't work on my species. That we can both feel smart." He shook his head. "I'm not here to sell you anything." "Then why talk to me?" she asked. He hesitated, just long enough for his voice to sound deliberate. "Because you're sitting here like the world stopped, and everyone else is pretending not to see it." For the first time, she looked straight at him. His face was tired, but steady, the kind of steady that didn't change whether he was angry or afraid. "I don't need sympathy," she said. "Good," he said. "I don't offer it." Miri shifted beside him. "Can we get her something to eat?" she asked. Rayless blinked. "What?" "She's hungry," Miri said simply. Rayless opened her mouth to argue, then caught the smell of food, seared meat, thick sauce, the faint sweetness of carrot fruit from a nearby stand. Her stomach cramped. She hadn't eaten since morning. "I'm fine," she said. "No one's fine when they haven't eaten," Elon said. "There's a stall over there with real food. Come with us." "I can't pay," she said flatly. "Didn't ask you to," he replied. Miri grinned. "He always overorders anyway." Raylis exhaled slowly, trying to decide whether her pride or her hunger was stronger. "Fine," she muttered. "One meal." They crossed the plaza together, Elon walking beside her, Miri skipping ahead to the food stand. The cook worked behind a steel grill, flames flickering beneath hanging racks of meat. He carved slices of glazed spine bowl, the scent heavy with smoke and salt. Elon ordered 3 portions and cups of chilled Zayler nectar. They took a small corner table under a canopy. The plate in front of Raylis steamed, the meat brushed with red glaze and small flecks of char. She hesitated before lifting a piece. It burned her fingertips. The taste hit her instantly, spice, salt, and heat, and she realized how empty her stomach was. Miri leaned on the table, chewing, syrup still on her chin. "You work for the city?" she asked Raylis. "No. I used to handle education requests for alien children who moved here. Then my back failed, and the council decided I was the one who needed help." Elon looked up. "Spinal trauma?" "L2 through L4, she said. "They said regeneration wasn't worth the cost." He nodded slowly, thinking, "So the rest of your nerves still respond, but weakly." Her eyes narrowed. "You read fast." "It's my job," he said, "and I've seen this before. It's not total severance." She laughed under her breath. "You sound sure." "I am," he said. "It's my specialty." She stared at him, trying to decide whether he was serious or delusional. His calm didn't read as arrogance. It was the steadiness of someone who already knew how far things could fall. "What's the catch?" she asked. "No catch," he said. "I run free assessments for cases the council discards. It's not charity, it's research and practice. I learn. You walk. Everyone wins." Raylis pushed her plate away halfway through the meal, appetite fading under the swirl of anger and cautious interest. "I've had enough people tell me I can be fixed," she said quietly. "It's the hope that hurts, not the chair." "I don't fix people," he said. "I build tools that help them fix themselves." That line made her pause. Miri sipped her drink, watching both of them carefully. "You help people because you got hurt once too," she said to her father. Elon's jaw tightened slightly. "That's one way to put it," he said. Raylis tilted her head. "What happened?" "Collapse on Nareth Outpost," he said. "I was pinned under steel for 6 hours before they cut me out. Nearly lost both legs. Someone didn't give up on me. I'm returning the favor." Raylis lowered her eyes to the metal frame of her chair. "So you're paying a debt," she said. "No," he said. "Just doing the same thing that kept me alive, fighting systems that give up too early." They sat in silence for a moment. The noise of the festival filled the gap. Music echoing off the high walls, laughter, the static of rain returning on the glass above. "Finally," Raylis said, "if I come to your clinic and your miracle fails, you'll just walk away?" "No," he said. "I'll still show you exactly what's possible. Then you'll know for sure who's lying, me or them." She leaned back, studying him. His expression didn't shift. He wasn't selling anything. He was offering a chance. Her voice softened slightly. "You're not supposed to talk to strangers like this, you know? I'm not supposed to let people rot in public either," he said. Miri scraped the last of her sauce from the plate with her fingers, then looked up. "You should come, Raylis. He gets grumpy when people give up." Raylis laughed once, a short sound that startled her. She wiped her mouth with a napkin and stared at the card Elon placed beside her plate. It was simple. Mercer Clinic. Level 3, East Wing. "I'll think about it," she said. "Good," Elon replied. "Thinking's the first step. The second one's harder." He stood, guiding Miri away toward the transport stairs. The girl waved once over her shoulder, sticky fingers leaving a faint mark on the air glass railing. Raylis remained at the table after they left. The smell of grilled meat lingered. Her denial slip was still in her lap, edges soft from her grip. She unfolded it, stared at the glowing red words one more time, then slipped it into the trash slot beside the table. The clinic card stayed in her hand. She rolled away from the crowd, the lights reflecting off the wet pavement, thinking only about one question that refused to leave her mind. What if he's right? The next morning came gray and wet. The upper city sat under low clouds, its towers half swallowed by mist. Water ran along the gutters of the Pearl Arcade, collecting in small reflective pools. Raylis sat by her window, one hand resting on the cold sill. The denial notice lay folded on the small table beside her chair. The clinic card Elon had left was on top of it. She had barely slept. Her mind replayed his voice, calm and sure, every time she closed her eyes. Emotion, anxiety, sensory, metallic taste of nerves on her tongue, shoulders tight, pulse quick under her jaw. She told herself she wasn't going. She had heard enough false promises to last a lifetime. But she kept picturing his eyes, steady, not pitying, and his daughter's small, serious face. He gets grumpy when people give up. By midday, she was moving through the lower terrace toward the lift that led to level 3. The city noise changed as she rose. Fewer market shouts, more mechanical hum. The architecture shifted from stained alloy panels to clean composite walls with white-blue lighting strips. Clinics, labs, and certification offices filled this part of Orith. Quiet, efficient, sterile. The Mercer Clinic occupied a corner with wide glass doors and a discreet sign etched in silver. Inside, the air was filtered and cool. Screens along the wall displayed transparent skeletal diagrams. Limbs, joints, neural paths, rotating slowly in blue light. The faint scent of antiseptic hung in the air, mixed with the warmth of brewed Ferland seed coffee from a machine near the reception desk. Raylis hesitated in the doorway. She half expected someone to stop her, to ask for paperwork or proof of payment. No one did. A soft voice from a nearby terminal said, "Welcome. Please wait. Dr. Mercer will be with you shortly." Elon appeared from one of the treatment rooms. He wore a dark lab coat over a plain shirt, sleeves rolled. His hair was still damp from rain, sticking slightly to his forehead. The sight of him in his own space made him look different, focused but gentler somehow. "You came," he said. She nodded. "I'm not promising anything." "That's fine," he said. "Just means I have to earn your trust the hard way." He guided her inside. The examination room was compact but bright. A padded table stood in the center, surrounded by suspended diagnostic arms. Each one carried sensors, cables, and small mechanical probes that glowed faintly. The walls were lined with transparent storage panels containing slim prosthetic limbs in different shades and lengths. Elon rolled a stool beside her chair. "Before we start, tell me everything. When did the injury happen?" 7 years ago, she said. "Construction collapse on Rhine deck. My team fell 3 levels. A support beam crushed the lower part of my spine. Any neural therapy? 2 failed stimulator implants. Both rejected. After that, I stopped volunteering to be someone's experiment." "I don't experiment," he said quietly. "I test what I know works." He began attaching small contact pads along her neck and shoulders. Each one clicked softly against her skin, cool at first, then warm as it activated. "Try to relax," he said. Easier said than done. He smiled faintly. "That's why I said try." The monitors flickered to life. A blue 3D map of her spine and nerve signals projected above the table. Thin pulses of light moved up and down the length of her back, most of them bright. 2 areas, near her lower spine, flickered weakly. "There," he said, pointing. Signal dropped between L2 and L4. Not severed, just faint. Her throat tightened. "They told me it was total. They were lazy," he said. "You still have partial conductivity. That means your brain still talks to your legs. It's just whispering. My mesh amplifies those whispers." He reached into a drawer and placed a thin piece of metallic film on the table. It looked fragile, almost transparent, faintly pulsing with light. "This goes along your spine," he said. "It doesn't replace your nerves. It helps them speak louder. If your body accepts the interface, we can attach prosthetics that answer your actual movement commands, not buttons or hand controls." She looked at it, unsure whether to believe him. "You think you can make me walk?" "I think your body still remembers how," he said. "I just plan to remind it." The way he said it, simple, confident, cut through her doubt more than any promise. She took a slow breath. What if I fail again? Then you rest and try again. That's all failure means here. Miri's laughter echoed faintly from the next room. Raylis turned toward the sound. The girl sat at a small corner desk, drawing on a tablet. She wore a faded school uniform shirt and one of Elon's jackets that hung to her knees. When she noticed Raylis watching, she waved. She's always here? Raylis asked. When I can't find anyone to watch her, Elon said. She likes the clinic. Says the machines sound like a song. Raylis smiled despite herself. She's bold. She gets that from her mother, Elon said, voice quieting. There was a short pause. The silence didn't feel heavy, just real. She's gone, Raylis asked gently. 5 years, he said. Accident off-world. Miri doesn't remember much. I came back here to build something stable for her. That's the mission. Keep people moving, literally and otherwise. You check the monitor again, switching between angles. You have good bone density, healthy nerve response. That's rare after this long. You've kept yourself alive. Barely, she said. That still counts, he said. Most give up long before this point. He stepped back and crossed his arms. We can implant a test mesh tomorrow. Outpatient procedure. You'll be conscious. Local anesthesia only. She stared at the screen, watching the faint pulses of her own nerves blink in rhythm. If it fails, then I remove it. You go home. No harm. You sound like you've done this before. I have, he said. Twice successfully with human patients. Once with a hybrid. You be the first of your kind to complete a full interface. If that works, the council has no medical ground left to deny you. Her heart kicked hard against her ribs. You're serious? Yes. Emotion, fear tangled with fragile hope. Sensory, palms cold, throat dry, chair edges pressing into her legs. She rubbed the edge of the denial slip still in her pocket. You know they'll never accept this officially. Even if I walk, they'll find a reason to call me unstable. They will if you let them, he said. But walking changes how people listen. She studied him for a long moment. His confidence wasn't arrogance. It was quiet determination. The kind that came from someone who had lost too much and decided not to lose again. All right, she said finally. Tomorrow. He nodded once, then handed her a data pad with intake forms. Fill these tonight. No fine print, no contracts. Just medical consent and allergy history. She took it, surprised by how light it felt. That's it, he said. Eat something heavy tonight. Protein and salt. You'll need it. What do you eat before surgery? She asked, half teasing. Usually nothing, he said, too nervous to keep it down. That small crack in his professional calm made her smile for real. As she left the clinic, the rain had stopped. The walkways outside shone with reflected light from the upper tiers. People moved between the food stalls again, the city resuming its rhythm. She stopped near a vendor selling grilled meat strips wrapped in flatbread. The smell reminded her of the night before. She bought one, ate it standing, grease running down her wrist. It grounded her, simple, hot, real. For the first time in years, she felt something she didn't want to name. It wasn't hope, not yet. It was a possibility that hadn't existed yesterday. Behind her, the city hummed with noise and light, but she barely heard it. Her mind stayed fixed on the thought of standing again, of hearing the sound her feet might make when they finally touched the ground. Morning light hit the clinic's glass front, cutting through the last of the mist. The corridors were quiet except for the low hum of machinery coming online and the rhythmic hiss of sterilizer cycling. Raylis sat on the procedure table in a short slate gown that tied at the back. Her hair was braided tightly over one shoulder, keeping it out of the way. The air smelled faintly of disinfectant and heated metal. Emotion, nervousness. Sensory, her fingers cold, skin prickling against the thin gown, pulse steady but shallow. Elon entered, checking a small display clipped to his wrist. His voice stayed calm and even. Vitals are stable. You slept. Barely, she said. That's normal. You'll stay awake for most of this. Local anesthetic only. She nodded once, trying not to stare at the tray beside him. A row of sterile instruments, surgical mesh rolled tight, like silver thread, and 2 injector wands that glowed faintly blue at their tips. He noticed her focus and said quietly, no incisions, just insertion points. It's cleaner than it looks. I trust you, she said, then added under her breath. More than I trust myself. He didn't answer. He adjusted the headrest and the light above her spine. You'll feel pressure, not pain. Miri wasn't there that morning. He'd left her with a neighbor who ran a small daycare. Raylis had asked about it, and he'd said, simply, she doesn't need to see this part. That had settled it. As the anesthetic spread, her lower back went numb, a strange warmth radiating along her ribs. Elon's hands moved with measured precision, marking, connecting, threading the mesh under the skin with a small guiding arm. The process looked mechanical but felt human. Every move checked, every pause deliberate. Raylis tried to distract herself. Why do you still work alone? She asked, her voice muffled by the table's headrest. Hard to find people who care about results more than protocol, he said. I built most of this place myself. Easier that way. Doesn't it get lonely? Sometimes, he admitted, but keeps things honest. Minutes passed. He switched tools, sliding a second set of fibers through the connector port. She couldn't feel pain, but the sound, the faint scrape of metal against polymer, tightened her stomach. Emotion, fear, sensory, breath shallow, throat dry, heartbeat fluttering fast under her ribs. She forced herself to breathe through it. When he finally stepped back, the air smelled faintly of ozone. Done, he said. The mesh is integrated. Give it an hour to sink. Her voice came small. That's it, he said. You'll start to feel a low vibration. That means the mesh is finding your nerve signals. He dimmed the lights. The machines lowered their hum to a softer frequency. Raylis felt it, an unfamiliar pulse deep under her skin, like a second heartbeat in her spine. I can feel something, she whispered. Good, he said. That's the bridge lighting up. He sat beside her bed, eyes on the monitor showing her neural readouts. It's a quiet signal, but it's clean. You're responding faster than most humans do. That's supposed to impress me? She asked. He smirked faintly. A little. Hours passed in steady silence. He ran tests every 30 minutes, asking her to move her toes, flex her thighs. The first time, nothing happened. The second time, her right foot twitched once, enough to make her gasp. Emotion, shock, sensory, the faintest pull of muscle memory returning, heat flooding her chest. I saw it, Elon said. Do it again. She tried. The movement came easier, sharper this time. Her breathing hitched. I can feel that, she said. Not full control yet, but it's there, he said. The mesh is listening. By the end of the day, exhaustion replaced adrenaline. Her arms trembled from holding herself up during each test. Elon guided her into a reclining position, covered her legs with a blanket, and set the monitor to standby. You did better than expected, he said. I didn't fall apart, if that's what you mean. That too, he said, smiling slightly. Later, when the clinic lights dimmed to evening mode, he brought her a meal tray. The food wasn't glamorous, boiled root stew thickened with grain and a side of grilled vermeat. But it was hot and smelled like real food, not hospital paste. You eat this every day? She asked. When I remember, he said. You're terrible at self-care. He shrugged. Most medics are. Raylis spooned a mouthful of stew. It was simple, salty, heavy, grounding. Her hands shook slightly, not from pain, but from the rush of realization that she might actually stand again. When she finished, she leaned her head back and closed her eyes. The clinic had grown quiet. Only the sound of rain returned, tapping faintly on the outer glass panels. She broke the silence first. If this works, what happens then? You start walking therapy, he said. Short steps. We strengthen your balance. We teach your nerves what standing means again. And after that, he hesitated. After that, you decide what to do with the life they said you couldn't have. That answer sat in the air for a long moment. She opened her eyes. You make that sound easy. It's not, he said simply. He checked her vitals one last time and turned off the monitor. Rest. The first movement will drain you more than you think. Elon, she said quietly as he started to leave. He stopped. Why me? He looked back, studying her face for a long second. Because you still show up, he said. That's more than most. When he left, the lights dimmed automatically. She lay there staring at the faint blue glow of the readout at her bedside, listening to the mesh hum faintly under her skin. Outside, the rain slowed to a stop. The city lights shimmered through the glass. Orith alive and cold and unaware of her small, silent victory. Under the blanket, her toes twitched again. This time, she smiled. Morning light filtered through the clinic blinds in thin white stripes. Raylis opened her eyes to the soft, mechanical hum beneath her bed. The mesh still pulsed faintly in her spine, a low vibration she was starting to recognize as her new heartbeat. Emotion, apprehension. Sensory, dry mouth, faint ache in her lower back, a light electrical warmth spreading under her skin. She turned her head toward the sound of footsteps. Elon was already there, in his usual plain gray shirt and dark work pants, sleeves rolled high. His hands held a tablet and a cup of Frolen seed coffee, steam curling upward in quiet spirals. "You slept," he said. "Barely," she replied, voice hoarse. "It hums, even when I close my eyes." "That's good," he said. "Means it's listening." He set the tablet aside and handed her the cup. The drink was bitter and sharp, more medicinal than pleasant. She sipped it anyway, letting the warmth chase off the last of her nausea. "Today we test stability," he said. "No braces, no harness." Her pulse quickened. "Already. I don't like wasting time," he said. "Neither do you." She tried to sound calm. "You're not wrong." He adjusted the table controls. The surface tilted upward until she sat nearly upright. The motion made her stomach flip, a wave of dizziness tightening behind her eyes. "Take a breath," Elon said. "We move slow." She nodded, gripping the bed rails. He crouched beside her and began attaching the exospine, a sleek black brace that connected to the ports at her lower back. The contact points clicked into place with small hisses of pressure. She flinched once. "Pain?" he asked. "No," she said. "Just strange." He checked each connection twice, careful not to meet her eyes too long. She watched the precision in his movements, how he never hesitated. His calm made it harder to hide her fear. Miri's voice drifted in from the doorway. "Is she going to walk today?" Raylis turned her head. The girl stood barefoot, still in her nightshirt, clutching a breakfast pack that smelled like fried grain and egg substitute. "Maybe a few steps," Elon said. "Can I watch?" "If you stay quiet," he said. Raylis smiled faintly. "She's not good at that." Miri grinned. "He's worse." Elon exhaled once, shaking his head, but there was warmth in it. He guided Raylis's hands to the rail beside her. "When I say stand, don't push with your arms. Think movement. Let the mesh handle the signal. You follow it." She swallowed. "And if I fall, I catch you," he said simply. Emotion, fear mixed with determination. Sensory, sweat forming at her temples, breath shallow, palms slick against metal. He counted softly. 1, 2, 3. Her body answered. The prosthetic connectors tightened, amplifying the neural signal. Her legs, alien and mechanical, yet hers, shifted, pressed down. Weight distributed through her spine, her hips, her knees. For the first time in 7 years, she rose. Her breath hitched. A small sound escaped her, half gasp, half disbelief. "Steady," Elon said, one hand hovering near her waist but not touching. "Don't lock your knees." She wobbled, adjusted, found balance. The sensation was terrifying, like standing on legs that might vanish if she doubted them for a second. Her fingers gripped the rail tighter. Miri clapped once, softly, unable to stay silent. "She's doing it." Raylis's throat tightened. She wanted to laugh, but her voice came out strained. "I'm standing." "Now think step," Elon said. "Small. Just one." She focused. The signal fired through her spine into the mesh. Her right leg moved forward, slow but steady, until her prosthetic foot touched the floor. The sound was soft but solid, a real physical step, her chest filled with sharp air. Emotion, shock followed by a rush of fierce joy. Sensory, heart pounding, throat burning, tears stinging her eyes. She whispered, "It listens to me." "It does," Elon said, "and it remembers." He stepped closer as her balance shifted. She stumbled forward, momentum carrying her into him. His hands caught her waist automatically, firm but careful. Her body pressed briefly against his, her breath hitting his neck. For a second, the room went still. The hum of machines blurred into the background. "Sorry," she muttered, trying to steady herself. "Don't apologize," he said. "It means you're alive." Miri tilted her head. "She's blushing." Raylis gave a shaky laugh, cheeks warm. "You're observant, aren't you?" "She gets that from me," Elon said dryly. "You wish," Miri replied, biting in her breakfast bar. The light moment broke the tension. Raylis took another step, slower this time, focusing on her balance. Elon guided her lightly by the elbow, but didn't interfere. Each movement grew a little smoother, more controlled. When her legs started to tremble, he touched her shoulder. "That's enough. Sit. I can keep going," she said through heavy breath. "I know," he said, "but you shouldn't." He helped her back onto the table. The exospine released with a quiet hiss, leaving faint impressions on her skin. Emotion, exhaustion wrapped around pride. Sensory, her limbs tingled, heartbeat slowed, sweat cooled on her neck. Elon handed her a small towel and a bottle of mineral water. "You pushed hard. Had a good first day." She wiped her face, staring at her legs, as if seeing them for the first time. "They don't feel like metal," she said. "They feel mine." "They are," he said. "You're driving them. That's the difference." Miri climbed onto a stool near the foot of the bed. "You're faster than the last guy Dad helped." Raylis raised an eyebrow. "You keep score?" "Always," Miri said proudly. Raylis laughed softly, the sound low but genuine. "Then I'll try to set a record." When the girl left to clean up her breakfast, Elon began checking the mesh readings again. She watched him for the corner of her eye. How he focused completely on data when he didn't want to talk about emotions. "You were scared," she said quietly. He looked up. "Everyone is the first day." "I meant you." He paused, then nodded once. "Yeah, it's never routine when it matters." She leaned back, staring at the ceiling. "I forgot what balance feels like. I forgot that fear can be good. That's why I make people stand before they're ready," he said. "It reminds them what they're fighting for." Her eyes moved to him. "What are you fighting for?" He met her gaze. "To keep something from being lost again." He didn't explain. She didn't press. The air between them carried an unspoken understanding. Two people who had both rebuilt from wreckage in different ways. The rest of the afternoon passed in steady tests. He adjusted the exospine's sensitivity while she practiced bending and sitting. By evening, the sun dipped behind the upper towers, turning the clinic's glass walls amber. Before she left, Elon packed her a small container of protein strips and root mash. "Eat before you sleep," he said. "Tomorrow we start longer sessions." She took it, the container still warm from the kitchen unit. "You always cook for patients." "Only the ones who make me nervous," he said. "That many." "Just you," he said, half a smile breaking through his usual calm. She looked at him for a long second, then said softly, "I'll try not to disappoint." "You won't," he replied. Outside, the air was cool, the city alive with evening sounds, vendors calling out, hovercraft hum, faint music from terrace cafes. As she moved toward the lift platform, each click of her prosthetic feet against the pavement sounded sharp, deliberate, alive. For the first time in years, the distance between herself and the world had narrowed to something she could walk. The following week unfolded in quiet progress. The city outside hummed with its usual rhythm, distant trams, soft chatter from balconies. But for Raylis, the world had shrunk to the polished floors and steady pulse of the Mercer Clinic. Every morning she arrived early, hair tied back, wearing simple slate shorts and a sleeveless top that exposed the faint surgical lines running along her lower back. The air in the rehab chamber was always cool, smelling faintly of metal polish and clean sweat. Emotion, cautious confidence. Sensory, her steps light but deliberate. The faint click of synthetic joints echoing each time her prosthetics met the floor. Elon watched from the console, arms crossed, face focused. He didn't give unnecessary praise. When she walked 3 meters without faltering, he just said, "Good." Again, when she reached 5, better. "You ever satisfied?" she asked after one session, panting, hair sticking to her cheek. "Rarely," he said. That's how we get results. He passed her a towel. Their fingers brushed briefly. Neither spoke about it. Each session left her trembling, but the tremble was life, not weakness. She could feel the mesh under her skin adjusting, adapting, learning her rhythms. At night, she could sense her muscles responding in small, involuntary twitches, like her body was practicing even while she slept. Between sessions, Elon checked the diagnostics and recalibrated signal strength. Sometimes, when he thought she wasn't looking, he watched her walk. Not as a doctor, something quieter than that. A mixture of focus and pride he didn't allow himself to name. Miri often sat near the wall with her drawing pad, sketching clumsy stick figures with prosthetic legs and labeling them with serious handwriting. "This one's you," she'd say, "but you run faster." Rayla started bringing her small gifts, cheap colored pens, sweets wrapped in paper. The child's joy in each small thing made the clinic feel less like a lab and more like something human. "Your dad pretends he's tough," Rayla said once, as Miri sat cross-legged beside her. "But he's soft." Miri nodded knowingly. "He cries at movies." "Does he now?" Rayla smirked. Elon's voice cut in from behind them. "That's classified information." They laughed. The sound loosened the room's formality. Later that day, during calibration, Elon adjusted one of the limb connectors. His hands were steady, knuckles lightly brushing her thigh. She felt the warmth of his fingers through the thin material of her exercise shorts. Emotion awareness. Sensory, shallow breath, skin prickling, heartbeat rising in tempo with the hum of the mesh. He didn't seem to notice or pretended not to. His focus stayed on the screen, eyes flicking over data lines. "Signal lag's almost gone. You'll hit full sync soon." "What happens when I do?" she asked. "You stop needing me." She looked at him sharply. That sound like a promise or a threat? He glanced up, meeting her gaze for a fraction longer than necessary. "Depends who you ask." The tension hung there, quiet but electric. By the 5th day, she could walk unassisted around the full circuit of the rehab room. Miri clapped from the bench, shouting, "She beat your time, Dad." Elon raised an eyebrow. "I wasn't competing." "She was," Miri said. That night, after the clinic closed, Rayla stayed behind for extra practice. The hall outside was dim, the air cool from the rain hitting the upper tiers. She walked slow laps, tracing the edges of light pooling on the floor. Each step felt different, not mechanical but hers. She caught sight of Elon through the glass wall of his office. He sat at his desk, head bowed over a data pad, sleeves rolled, a faint line of exhaustion under his eyes. There was a half-eaten ration meal beside him, grilled Varan meat and root mash untouched. She stepped inside quietly. "You should eat before it fossilizes." He looked up, startled. "Thought you went home." "I did. Then I came back," she said. "I wasn't done walking." He smiled faintly, the kind that showed without teeth. "That makes two of us not knowing when to stop." She leaned against the doorframe. "You always stay this late?" "Most nights," he said. "The paperwork never walks itself out." Raylis crossed the room and sat on the edge of the desk. The lamp cast soft light across her face, catching the small silver connectors along her spine. "You're not just a doctor," she said. "You're a man avoiding his apartment." He didn't argue. "It's quieter here. And lonely." He hesitated. Sometimes, silence filled the space between them. Not awkward, but dense with things unsaid. The rain outside tapped against the glass, steady and rhythmic. "You rebuilt me," she said quietly. "But I don't think you realize you're rebuilding yourself too." He looked up. The air shifted. Emotion awareness deepened into something steady, mutual, unscripted. Sensory, faint hum of the clinic lights, smell of rain and sterilizer, warmth spreading between them. Elon set the datapad aside. "You should rest," he said, though his voice had lost its usual firmness. "So should you," she replied. He stood, close enough that she had to tilt her head to keep his eyes. Neither moved for a moment. Then he stepped back, breaking the tension with a slow exhale. "Tomorrow," he said, voice back to professional calm. "We test outside balance." Raylis smiled slightly. "Outside, real ground," he said. "Rain, uneven tiles, people. You'll hate it." "I'll manage," she said. "You always do." he replied. She left his office without looking back. Outside, the city glowed wet and silver. Her reflection in the window showed a woman standing tall, tired, still trembling, but upright. For the first time, she didn't see a patient. She saw someone becoming whole. The rain had stopped overnight, but the air still carried the clean scent of metal and wet pavement. The city's upper terraces gleamed under pale light as transport trams hissed through the morning fog. Rayla stood just outside the Mercer Clinic, the doors sliding closed behind her. She wore a dark jacket that ended above her prosthetic knees, the fabric cut for movement. Her hair, still damp from the light drizzle, fell loosely around her shoulders. Beneath the jacket, she wore a slate gray fitted dress that made her feel both practical and visible. She no longer hid the chrome lines running down her legs. Emotion, nervous anticipation. Sensory, cool air brushing her exposed knees. Hum of the prosthetics syncing with the rhythm of her breathing. Faint static at the base of her spine. Elon adjusted the cuffs of his coat beside her, scanning the plaza ahead. "We'll start with level ground," he said. "No supports. If you feel unsteady, don't fight it. Let the system adjust before you do." She nodded, watching the light catch along his profile. Sharp jaw, eyes calm and alert. The way he observed her wasn't clinical anymore. It carried a quiet protectiveness, like someone waiting for proof that the impossible had finally become real. Miri ran ahead on the slick tiles, boots splashing in shallow puddles. "Come on. You promised she could walk outside today." "I did," Elon said, half smiling. "Stay close." They moved toward the plaza, a wide, open square surrounded by high glass-front shops and hovering delivery drones that hummed softly overhead. Steam rose from street vents, curling through the air like breath. The scent of grilled food drifted from the stalls at the far end. Meat searing, bread crisping, spice-laden oil sizzling on iron. Raylis stopped at the edge of the square. Her heart pounded harder than it had inside the clinic. Out here, there were eyes. People passing, stopping, glancing, some curious, some indifferent. She'd avoided this kind of attention for years. Now she stood in full view. Elon stepped beside her. "You ready?" "No," she said, "but I'm doing it anyway." He nodded. "That's how most good things start." She stepped forward. Her first few strides were stiff, deliberate, each one measured through the hum of the exospine translating her neural signals. Then, slowly the rhythm shifted. The ground under her feet felt uneven but real. The soft give of the tiles, the subtle vibration from passing trams. Miri's voice echoed. "You're faster than me." "Not yet," Raylis said, laughing breathlessly. Emotion, exhilaration. Sensory, cool mist on her face. Sound of her own feet striking ground. Faint pulse of the mesh responding like muscle memory, returning from another life. After several laps around the square, they stopped by a food stall. The vendor, a gray-skinned woman with mechanical arm augments, eyed Raylis for a long second before asking, "You part of the new rehab trial?" Raylis hesitated, then said evenly, "No, just walking home." The vendor smiled faintly, respect flickering in her gaze. "Good for you." Elon handed the woman a few credits and took a packet of grilled Varan strips wrapped in thin bread. The smell hit immediately, savory, smoky, layered with spiced oil. He handed one to Raylis, who took it without protest. "Eat," he said. "You always feeding me," she said, tearing off a bite. "You keep skipping meals," he said. "Seems like a fair trade." Miri spoke through a mouthful of food. "You two talk like you're already married." Raylis nearly choked. Elon coughed once, fighting a smile. "Finish eating, Miri." The girl grinned. "I was just saying." When they returned to the clinic that afternoon, Raylis's legs trembled with exhaustion, but her posture stayed tall. Elon walked a step behind, not touching her, yet close enough that she felt anchored. Inside, she sank onto the padded bench. The prosthetics released with soft hydraulic sighs. Her muscles ached, a good ache, earned through use. Elon crouched beside her, scanning the diagnostic readout projected in blue light above her knees. No signal drop. Balance readings normal. You're adapting faster than projected. She looked down at him. You sound surprised. I am, he admitted. Because I'm not human? No, he said quietly. Because no one else wanted to be this stubborn. Their eyes met, too long, too still. The kind of silence that carried its own current. Emotion, warmth, recognition. Sensory, faint hum of clinic lights. Scent of rain still clinging to their clothes. Her pulse sinking unconsciously with his slow breathing. He broke the silence first. You should rest. We'll resume in the morning. She hesitated. You ever stop working? Sometimes, he said, when someone reminds me how. He stood, reached for the lights, then paused at the door. You've changed this place, he said. It used to be just a lab. Now it feels alive. She watched him go, her chest tight in a way she couldn't name. Later, after he left for the night, she sat alone in the training room. The city lights filtered through the glass wall, reflecting her silhouette, half flesh, half alloy. She flexed her legs slowly, feeling the mesh respond, her balance steady even without support. In the reflection, she noticed something new. Her face no longer carried the quiet defeat she'd lived with for years. It held focus, defiance. A message blinked on the terminal beside her. From Elon. Tomorrow. Early session. Bring shoes you can ruin. She smiled. For the first time in years, her life wasn't a waiting room. It was motion, forward, unafraid, and hers. The next morning broke sharp and cold. The streets of Orith gleamed from the night's rainfall, the sky pale and washed clean. Raylis arrived at the clinic before the doors unlocked, her breath fogging in the cool air. She wore a dark-fitted jacket and light gray leggings that revealed the faint metallic sheen of her prosthetics when the fabric shifted. Her white hair was tied high, strands whipping across her face with each gust of wind. Emotion, anticipation. Sensory, the smell of rain-soaked metal, the distant rumble of sky, trams overhead. Her own heartbeat steady but fast. Elon opened the clinic door from inside, holding 2 cups of steaming frozen seed coffee. You're early. You said to bring shoes I can ruin, she said, stepping in. He smiled faintly. You remembered. Hard to forget when you're cryptic about it. Miri sat at the counter behind him, kicking her heels and eating a breakfast wrap. He didn't even tell me where we're going, she said. That's because you talk, Elon replied, setting down his cup. Too much. Someone has to fill the silence, she shot back. Raylis chuckled. You'd be dangerous in a council meeting. Miri grinned through a mouthful. I already am. Within the hour, they left the clinic on foot. The walkways led them downward, away from the clean upper levels, into the industrial terraces where the city's spine met the sea. Here, the sound changed. Harsher machinery, deeper air currents, and the rhythmic pulse of turbines below the floor grids. Elon led them through a narrow corridor lined with repair scaffolds until they reached an open deck overlooking the ocean. The horizon stretched wide, metallic water gleaming under weak sunlight. This is where we test for uneven ground, he said. The deck's floor was old steel, warped in places, slick with mist. Waves crashed far below, the air sharp with salt. Raylis frowned. If I slip, that's a long way down. Good motivation not to, he said. Miri tugged at her sleeve. Don't worry. He brought safety tethers. I'm comforted, Raylis muttered. He attached a slim line to her waist harness, connected to his wrist-mounted stabilizer. It won't catch you instantly, he warned. You'll still have to balance. She rolled her shoulders. Then I'll balance. The first few steps were careful, her prosthetics adjusting to the slick surface. Each move sent small vibrations through the mesh in her spine, translating into real feedback. Cold metal underfoot, the faint drag of water across her synthetic soles. Emotion, concentration. Sensory, ocean spray on her lips, wind tugging at her jacket, heartbeat syncing with the rhythm of her steps. Elon followed close behind, eyes on her posture. Shift your weight slower, he said. Let the mesh anticipate your balance. She obeyed, slowing her pace. The adjustments worked, the wobble lessened, her movement steadied. When the wind gusted harder, she braced and held, legs compensating without overcorrection. After 20 minutes, she reached the far end of the deck. She turned, breath visible in the air, eyes bright. "I'm not falling," she said, almost laughing. "Not even close," Elon said. Miri cheered from the entrance. "You're a champion." Raylis exhaled and raised her hands. "Feels like it." On the walk back, Elon said quietly, "You ever think about what comes after this?" "After walking?" "After proving you can," he said. "What do you want to do with it?" She hesitated. "I used to think about teaching, training others who got left behind like I did. But they'd never let me near the clinics." "Maybe they will now," he said. She studied his face. "You sound sure." "I'm not," he admitted. "But I've spent years building things to help people move. You remind me why it matters." Their eyes met. The wind cut between them, cold but not enough to dull the quiet heat that hung there. When they returned to the clinic, Miri ran ahead to open the doors. Rayla stepped inside, pulling off her damp jacket. The air inside was warm, filled with the faint aroma of roasted grains from a nearby food stand. Elon checked the readouts again. Her vitals were steady, nerve conductivity at 94%. He smiled slightly at the data, but didn't comment. "Something wrong?" she asked. "No," he said. "Just thinking about how long it's been since someone walked into this clinic and made it feel less like work." Her expression softened. "You don't know how much that means." "Actually," he said quietly, "I think I do." The silence that followed wasn't professional anymore. It was something neither of them could pretend away. Miri peeked around the corner. "Are you two being serious again?" Raylis snorted. "Apparently, yes." "Well," Miri said, crossing her arms. "Can we be a family yet? Because I already told my class you're my mom's friend." Raylis blinked. "You're what?" Elon froze, half smiling. "She tends to skip steps." The girl shrugged. "You make her smile. She makes you eat. That's family." Emotion, warmth, and disbelief tangled together. Sensory, Raylis's throat tightening, her hands instinctively brushing the girl's hair, the hum of the clinic fading behind a moment. She crouched slightly, resting a hand on Miri's shoulder. "You don't scare easily, do you?" "Nope," Miri said proudly. "Dad says it's a problem." "It's not," Raylis said softly. "It's brave." Elon watched them quietly. Something unspoken settled in his eyes. An acceptance, not sudden but complete. That evening, he walked Raylis home through the upper terraces. The air smelled of street food and rain. Lanterns glowed along the railings, their light reflecting off the chrome of her legs. She moved beside him, steady and sure, her stride matching his. "You never answered her question," she said finally. "Which one?" "The family part." He slowed, stopping under the soft light of a canopy. The glow caught in his eyes, warm, unguarded. "I didn't have to," he said. "You already did." She looked at him, words caught somewhere between relief and disbelief. "You mean that?" "I do," he said. "I don't say things I don't mean." She stepped closer. The space between them closed until she could feel his breath warm against the cool night air. His hand rose, fingers brushing her jaw in a gesture that asked permission rather than assumed it. She didn't move away. The kiss was quiet, slow, real. Two people who had both rebuilt themselves piece by piece, meeting in the middle of what was left. Emotion, peace, and gravity at once. Sensory, the taste of rain on his lips, the faint hum of her mesh responding like a heartbeat, his hand steady against the curve of her back. When they finally parted, neither spoke. The city around them moved on. Voices, music, the world continuing as if nothing extraordinary had happened. But for them, something final had clicked into place. Raylis took his hand, interlacing her fingers with his. "Tomorrow," she said softly. He nodded. "Tomorrow." They walked the rest of the way together through the glowing city streets, their steps aligned, the quiet, steady rhythm of two people who had stopped surviving and started living. Dawn came slow over Orith, bleeding pale light through the glass terraces. The ocean far below shimmered like molten metal, the tide whispering against the city's deep anchors. Inside Raylis's apartment, the air smelled faintly of brewed Furlan-seed coffee and grill bread. She stood at the counter, balancing easily on her prosthetic legs, bare feet against the cool tile. The soft hum of her spinal mesh followed her every move, quiet but alive, like breathing. She sliced a piece of roasted varan meat, steam curling upward, and laid it between two halves of toasted flatbread. It was still strange to stand and cook. Strange and right. Emotion calm, quiet pride. Sensory, the soft hiss of the stove, warmth brushing her hands, light breaking through the blinds and landing across her face. Behind her, Miri stumbled out of the small bedroom, hair wild, wrapped in a blanket. "You're cooking again?" she mumbled. Raylis smiled. "Somebody has to. Your dad forgets to eat." "I heard that." Elon's voice came from the doorway. He stepped in, wearing a dark shirt rolled at the sleeves, tired eyes softened by the sight of them. "You also didn't deny it," Raylis said. He leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "That's because it's true." Miri climbed onto the counter stool, yawning. "Are we still going to the registry today?" The question landed with quiet weight. Raylis looked up from the stove. Elon met her eyes. No hesitation, just a shared understanding of a promise waiting to be kept. "Yes," Raylis said softly. "We are." It had been a week since the ocean test, since the kiss under the rain light, since they'd started walking home together without the need to say why. But today wasn't about walking. Today it was about proof. They left after breakfast. The city was bright now, washed clean from the storm. Vendors arranged stalls for the midday crowd. Children in uniform ran past with lunch packs. The world had moved on, but for Raylis, every step through the crowd felt like a quiet rebellion. At the heart of the plaza, the pair registry kiosk shimmered under its gold canopy. The same place where she'd once been told she was unfit for family. She paused a few meters away, her reflection mirrored in the polished alloy floor. She stood straighter, meeting her own gaze. Emotion controlled fear. Sensory air too thin, chest tight, pulse loud in her ears. Elon rested a hand on her back, steady but unobtrusive. "You don't have to do this," he said quietly. "I do," she said. "Not for them. For me." Miri squeezed her hand. "For all of us," she said. They stepped forward together. The clerk at the counter, a different one this time, glanced up, expression neutral. "Name and purpose?" Elon placed his ID on the reader. "Mercer, Elon. Application to update partnership and family status. Existing dependent. 1. And the partner?" Raylis met the clerk's eyes. "Raylis T. 47, she said clearly. "Mobility restored. Full rehabilitation confirmed by Orith Rehabilitation Board." The clerk blinked, recognition flickering across his face. "Your previous record. Outdated," Elon interrupted smoothly. "Filed under medical exemption 7 years ago. She's standing here now." The clerk hesitated, uncertain. "Do you have supporting documentation?" Elon slid a data chip across the counter. "Diagnostics, mesh approval, and witness signatures. Or you can just look at her." Raylis stood still, letting the silence do the work. People nearby had started to notice. The alien woman once confined to a chair, now upright, poised, hand clasped with the human's. The clerk shifted, voice softer. "Biometric confirmation required." Raylis placed her palm on the bond mark pad. The surface glowed faint violet under her skin. Elon placed his hand over hers, his touch firm and sure. Miri, standing between them, laid her smaller hand on top. The disc pulsed once, bright, alive, and chimed. "Registry confirmed," the clerk said. "You're now listed as a bonded family unit under open species statute." Raylis exhaled hard. For a second, she couldn't speak. Her hands trembled, not from weakness, but from release. Miri's eyes filled with tears. "We're official," she whispered. Elon smiled, his voice rough. "Looks like it." The clerk averted his gaze, almost embarrassed by the intimacy of the moment. "Congratulations," he said quietly. Outside, the plaza light felt warmer. They stepped into it together, the sound of the crowd folding back in emotion. For the first time, no one looked away from her. Some even nodded, acknowledgement, not pity. They walked along the upper promenade, where the city overlooked the endless silver sea. Wind carried the smell of salt and grilled spices from nearby stalls. Miri ran ahead to chase a street balloon that had escaped its string. Raylis leaned against the railing, watching the water far below. Her prosthetic legs caught the sunlight, glinting gold at the edges. Elon stood beside her. You did it, he said. We did it, she corrected. He turned to her. You're not shaking anymore. I'm not afraid anymore, she said simply. He smiled. That's what I meant. They stood like that for a long time, two silhouettes against the expanse of the sea. Then Raylis spoke quietly. I went to the clinic yesterday. Alone. Walked the whole hall without support. He raised an eyebrow. Without telling me. I want to know if I could do it when you weren't there, she said. And I can. His eyes softened, pride flashing beneath the calm. Then it's time for me to admit something, he said. What? I don't think you need me as your doctor anymore. Her breath caught. And as what then? He met her gaze steadily. As your husband. For a second, the world around her went soundless. The waves, the people, the hum of trams, all drowned out by the rush of emotion in her chest. Emotion, disbelief melting into fierce, unguarded joy. Sensory, wind lifting her hair, heart pounding, fingers twitching where they brushed his hand. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she stepped close and kissed him. Slow, certain, grounding the words in something real. Miri's voice broke the moment. EW, do I call her mom now or what? They both laughed. Raylis turned and opened her arms. Only if you want to. The girl ran into her, arms wrapping tight around her waist. I already did. Elon rested a hand over both of them. The light shifted as a transport passed overhead, scattering reflections across their faces like a quiet blessing. Later, they sat together on the bench overlooking the sea, sharing a small paper box of grilled root slices. Raylis rested her head on Elon's shoulder, her legs stretched out before her, the sunlight warming the metal. Do you ever think, she murmured, about how strange it is that all this started because I was crying alone in a crowd? He smiled. No, I think about how it ended. How's that, with you walking away from it? She looked at him, eyes wet but bright. And toward you. He nodded, leaning his forehead gently against hers. Exactly that. Below them, the silver waves rolled on, carrying the city's reflection out to the horizon. The world didn't change overnight, but for one small family in the shining heart of Orith, everything finally had. The sound of their laughter mixed with the wind, carried upward through the tiers of the city until it disappeared into the light.